Here comes Moses. Here comes the quarterback, Burrow. Looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown!
Fakes, throwing to the end zone. Wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
There's the sneak. Burrow gets low, driving towards the goal line. He's inside the one, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown.
Welcome to New Stripe City, a YouTube channel for diehard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. I'm joined by a special guest today, the man, the legend, Voch Lombardi. Voch, what's going on, bro?
What's happening, man? First of all, shouts out to everybody in the chat box right now. The chat box came through, showed some great love. And also, let me just show some love to you, man. New Stripe City as a name is crazy. Crazy incredible name, dog. Like I'm a big Nino Brown guy, man. So New Stripe,
yes, sir.
Like people try to, play on words all the time, but it doesn't always go, we're the Foolishness Falcons channel, just whatever. New Stripe City is crazy. So salute to you, sir.
Oh, appreciate that, bro. That's definitely where the inspiration comes from. My original logo, I had all of the players kind of like the New Jack logo, but then you already know with players changing teams and all of that, it didn't work out. But I truly appreciate that. The first thing that I got to ask you about, bro, is I've been following your work for a long time. Big fan of the work that you do. Do great work over there. I got to ask you about the receivers because I haven't seen you post that much about the receivers. So I got to just get your general take on the receivers of this draft class.
I mean, the wide receivers, face value, they don't look very fun. It's the top three guys, and then you just got to find other guys that you like. But once you find those other guys, then you kind of like it a little bit. Now this class ain't going to be last year's class where there's like 6 or 7 first-round guys and they're all good except Jalen Reagor because the Eagles do weird things. But, there are more complimentary guys. And I don't want to say complimentary guys like they're bad guys, but sometimes everybody's not going to be a number one guy. Sometimes you need a Cole Beasley to complement your digs on the outside. You know what I mean? So right. If we just looking at the top 3 people or whatever, I don't really dig into the national media too much. I'm not like consensus guy. I'm not Jamar Chase, and we're just gonna run away with it. I like Devontae Smith. Now, if y'all want to go Jamar Chase for whatever your reasoning is, Jamar Chase is not a bad player. Me in particular, I just like route runners. I just like IQ people. Not that Jamar Chase is a low IQ guy, but Devontae Smith does IQ in a different kind of way. I like sneaky fast guys, right? So I just prefer Devontae Smith a little more over Jamar Chase. But if y'all want to shoot for that Jamar Joe Burrow combo, then I can't hate you for wanting that, because I think sometimes people overthink drafts. Sometimes they go into what a player can't do, but they look away from what they really are. So they may look at Jamar Chase and say, well, I don't know about his speed on the field. I don't know about his route running. Well, if I don't know about Jamar Chase's route running, I'm just not going to ask him to do a bunch of weird routes. If I know Jamar Chase, I know he's really good with Joe Burrow. I know he finds space. I know he attacks the football great with his hands. Just let Jamar Chase do those things and he'll be a great receiver for you moving forward. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm with you. It's funny that you mentioned Devonta Smith, because when I looked at his film, to me, it seemed like he was more of a complete receiver than Chase. I think one thing that you said that stuck out was definitely the route running, the IQ too, like the way that he found like soft spaces in the zone and could just sit down and find the open spaces and make plays was definitely major. So from your opinion, is Jamar Chase a guy that you would pick in the top 5?
I mean, sure. If that's your thing, if like I'm huge on take your guy, right? Don't listen to Voch. Don't listen to Ace. Like if Jamar Chase is your guy at top 5, take Jamar Chase. Don't listen to me and just live your life. Just to kind of give, just give ideas about where I'm at. Last year, I was CD Lamb one guy. Justin Jefferson was wide receiver number 2, and nobody really wanted to hear that. They was real big on Judy and Ruggs. I like Judy and Ruggs, but Justin Jefferson is different. I just believed in Justin Jefferson. Now it's still early. Jefferson could be trash next year, and Judy could be the best out of the class or whatever. But just kind of, trust your guy and whoever your guy is. If you're a Bengals fan watching this and you say, well, I don't want Jamar Chase, I want to go Pitts, or I want to go, with one of the linemen or whatnot, then cool. Then get one of these complementary guys in the second or third rounds. Rondale Moore, Purdue, big fan of his. De'Ami Brown from North Carolina, big fan of his. If you want to go, if I don't think Elijah Moore from Ole Miss is going to be there, but just get a guy that complements T. Higgins and just make T. Higgins your number one guy.
Right. No, I'm with you. I'm a big fan of T. Higgins as the number one guy. You mentioned some guys there in the second round. A lot of Bengals fans say you have to take Chase because in this class, there's a lot of slot guys. And primarily we keep Tyler Boyd in the slot. But it seems like you mentioned some guys that they could potentially look at in the second round. But the other side of that coin, we've had a civil war here. We've had Hugh Jackson, all kind of people on the channel to debate this. Penei Sewell, what are just your impressions of Penei Sewell? Or do you think that there are other linemen that the Bengals can look at instead of Penei Sewell, possibly in the second round, that they could bring in that there might not be that much of a drop-off from the first to the second or from Penei to those guys?
So, first of all, never make your first round pick dependent on what your second round pick is going to be. You should always take the best player. Whoever you think is the best guy in the first round, take that dude, because drafting is more than just a 1-year situation. So you can make all the I need wide receiver arguments or all the you need, lineman arguments you want to. This is a 5-year conversation. Like Jonah Williams is still on your team right now because he is a 5-year player for you, right? So right. I don't want to pass up on Penei Sewell, especially if you think Penei Sewell is special. I think Sewell is special. I think Slater is better, but I think Sewell is special. If you think Penei Sewell is special, don't pass up on special just because you like Leatherwood later. Because I tell you this, I mean, Leatherwood is cool. He ain't Penei Sewell. And the one thing I don't like is recreational, like, I'm fine. Oh, I'm just recreational complacency. You know what I mean? I'll be cool with Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame. I'm fine. I'm serviceable, with Dylan Radunes. I'm serviceable is the detriment to football teams, right? You just go serviceable before you know it. Your team is that it's serviceable. You never get over the hump. What you need are studs. You know what I mean? And right. And in your situation in particular, or y'all's Bengals Nation in particular, there aren't many great offensive linemen in the league in general. You know what I mean? So you can look at wide receiver. There's a great wide receiver every single year. I know you kind of get spoiled last year looking at all the tackles that came out, but normally it's a bunch of tackles and one of them may be okay and none of them may be great. That's normally what you get. I'm a Cowboys fan, right? We drafted Tyron Smith in 2011. We haven't had to worry about left tackle since 2011. That's how life works. You know what I mean? Even when you have a Dez Bryant, you still got to go look for other receivers. You still got to do this and do that. And you can say the same thing about, line. Like, just because you have a left tackle doesn't mean your left guard is good. But if you look at what's going on in the league right now, offensive line is terrible as a whole in the league. All the best offensive linemen are in their 30s and they about to leave. And this new crop last year coming up, shouts out to them because they're making it a little better for you. What you want to do as a Bengals fan, if you're in this situation, take this rare opportunity to take an offensive lineman so you ain't got to damn worry about offensive line moving forward. You may like Jonah Williams, but you ain't sure about Jonah Williams. You ain't all the way confident about Jonah Williams. You can't look me in the face and say Jonah Williams is going to get a second contract. You know what I mean? Tyron Smith since 2011 gonna get all the contracts he wants because he's a stud, and that's just how life works. Zach Martin getting all the contracts. When you have an offensive lineman to where for sure that dude is going to be here for the next 15 to 20 years. Dude, take that dude and just move on with your life. Plus, Joe Burrow is your centerpiece, right? Like some nerve of y'all to run Bobby Hart out there last year. Like, Riley Reef is there, but Riley Reef ain't no long term. The nerve of you to run Xavier Su'a-Filo out. The nerve of you. The nerve of you. Joe Burrow is the greatest college football player of all time, and I stand on that. And he has the potential to be GOAT in the league, but you can't expect him to be GOAT with daggum Riley Reef, Michael Jordan. Jonah Williams is cool, but Jonah Williams probably be better off being your right tackle for the future with a stud at left tackle moving forward. Not only would offensive line help your Joe Burrow situation, but you just pay Joe Mixon. Get Joe Mixon involved, and that will also make Joe Burrow even better. There's no need to have this flashy receiver if you ain't got time to get the ball to him,
No, that's fact. So it sounds like Voch. I don't want to speak for you. It sounds like your team Sewell in terms of if you had to pick between Chase and Sewell, you would go with Sewell.
If it's out of those two, yes. And on my board in particular, y'all can go find it on Twitter, Voch Lombardi, VochLombardi. Sewell is my third ranked player in the entire draft. Chase is like 10. Not to say that Chase is terrible, because I know that the internet can do that sometimes. If we're having this conversation and I prefer Sewell in y'all's mind, I just said Chase sucked. That ain't what that means. It's just that I just think Chase is the 10th guy that I like in this draft, and Sewell is the third.
So in terms of like some people for that crowd that says I do have Riley Reef, I agree with you. It's pretty much average when you talk about Riley Reef. There, you talk about Jonah Williams. Who are some guards I think, or do you think that stick out in the second round? Because it seems that the Bengals, according to sources, they want to go with Jamar Chase. So if there were some guys in that second round that could play guard, who would be some of your favorite ones?
Well, for this crowd in particular, what y'all can count on is that the league got guard all the way messed up. See, I'm an offensive line guy, and I think if you like an offensive lineman enough, take them anywhere. Take them in the second, third round if you want to. But what's going to happen is guard is going to fall. Good guards are going to fall to the fourth round just because the nature of value or whatnot. So Deontay Brown from Alabama is my favorite one. Fantastic. He about 330 some pounds. He probably about 360 some pounds, but he has great feet for a 360 pound child. Landon Dickerson, who's a center but can't play guard for you, is probably like my second favorite interior guy. I have Dickerson ranked over Brown, but but like in terms of favorite, just watching people play, I like both those dudes together. Man, I mean, you can look at the Wyatt Davises from Ohio State. I'm cool on him, he's fine. He's not somebody that's gonna knock your socks off. He's not a Quentin Nelson or anything like that. But what I think is gonna happen now in this class in particular is that you're gonna get a lot of tackles that are gonna end up playing guard. So you can look at a tackle like Jalen Mayfield from Michigan. He may end up playing guard for you. I don't believe it, but the Bengals might. Some other team around the league might. So you have options. In real life, what should be the case? Take Penei Sewell, put his ass at guard. Can I say ass on your show?
Yeah, you can. You good.
Take Penei Sewell, put his ass at guard, and move him to tackle for the next 15 or so years. Some people don't like the idea of your franchise type offensive lineman playing guard. I mean, Laramie Tunsil played guard for a little bit. La'el Collins played guard. Tyron Smith didn't play guard, but he played right tackle for a little bit. So sometimes you could just take a guy and plug him somewhere. If you want Jonah Williams and Riley Reef to be the guys, Riley Reef's not going to last forever. Riley Reef is going to go off into the sunset and be a journeyman again. You can put Jonah at right, and you can have Penei Sewell for the next 15 years like the Cowboys have Tyron Smith.
No, that's facts. So some people in the comments said that you got to let Kobe out, bro.
Let Kobe out, please. They know what that means. Y'all don't know what that means. You and your audience don't know what that means, but me and my audience know exactly what that means. I love my audience, man. Shout out to my audience. I love y'all to death.
Shout out to the audience for sure. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us. On the flip side, I just
make one more point though. Like, if you're a Bengals fan, y'all should take the biggest note from the team that just lost the Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes and them lost the Super Bowl. They didn't go get more defense. They went and got offensive linemen. So that should let you know like where the league is trending toward. My bad about my phone, man. But go ahead.
No, you're good. I was gonna ask you flipping sides. For the defensive, I'm not a huge guy on this edge rushing class, but I want to get your take just on the edges. I know you dropped a video on the edges, but are there any edges that you think that the Bengals should target in the first 3 to 4 rounds?
First 3 to 4 rounds. So the Bengals picking at 5, I wouldn't take a guy at 5. That's just the nature of where we're at this year. There's no Chase Youngs this year. There are no Bosa children this year. But if the Bengals decide that they weren't going to take Jamar Chase, that they weren't going to take one of the offensive linemen, they trade back or something, then it's prime position. Anywhere like those day 2 picks are super, super valuable. So anywhere from like pick number 19 to pick number 67 is going to be quality guys up in there. And I actually like the edge class. You just got to grind your film and really like figure it out or whatever. But my edge 1 is Jalen Phillips, number 15 from Miami. Not Greg Russo. I'm not going to say anything nice about Greg Russo. My mom said if I don't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. So I ain't going to say nothing about the Russo kid. But, Jalen Phillips is my number 1 guy. Ojulari is not going to be there for you. Kwity Paye is not going to be there for unless you trade back or whatnot. If you're looking for like like a day 2 option. There's a dude from Houston, Peyton Turner. He's not being talked about as much. But if you're looking for the Russo type character, for the people that love Greg Russo, when they describe what can be good about Russo, I'm gonna look at them and tell them that they're lying. But you take those same compliments and apply them to Peyton Turner. That's exactly what Peyton Turner is. Peyton Turner is the long-armed, big-framed, good versus the run. He's more twitchy than Russo because he's not as long as, like, Russo is 6'7", so it's hard for him to turn. Peyton can turn. Plus, Peyton is big enough to play inside. You don't get that with Russo necessarily. Guys like Carlos Boogie Basham, you know, he may or may not fall. You know, there's this spot to where, if you look at the board and count how many first round picks there are, there's about 19 or so guys that you would call a true first round grade. But if you look at like second round grades or whatnot, it's about 70 something second round grades. So what you're going to get is somebody that you thought is going to be there in the 20s. They may be there at your 39, 38, somewhere. The Bengals pick 38. Yes. So a guy that you thought, oh, he's going to go in the 20s somewhere, he'll be there at 38 just because all these other guys are kind of bumped down the board. Just because, first of all, too, let me say this. I say this on my show all the time. This is my first time here. Teams suck at drafting. So I don't want y'all to just have faith in some organization that they're just going to draft properly. So especially teams in front of you, you know what I mean? Right. The Jags ain't great at this. like they get it right sometimes, they don't get it right all the time. So, right. You know, just assume that what's going to happen is, you know, teams like the Raiders, like the Packers did last year, they're just going to take bad players and good players are going to constantly bump down the board, and, you know, you'll be good to go.
No, facts. So, Voch, please let people know, we want to be respectful of your time, just where people can find your stuff, because obviously, if you guys aren't listening and hearing these gems, this man is dropping all kind of gems. So let them know where they can support your stuff and find your content.
Voch Lombardi, man. VOCHLOMBARDI. Find me on Twitter. Find me on YouTube. I mean, we got more than I'm not that Hollywood, man. See, that's the problem. People think I'm just Hollywood, Voch, and it's hard to get in touch with me. It's hard to schedule me. Oh, I don't want to have them but 20 minutes. Talk to me some of you. I mean, come on, man. You got some.
No, we good.
Notepad, man. Come on, give me something else on your notepad.
Okay. Cool. Let's get to it then. Cornerbacks.
What's that?
What do you think of the Bengals cornerback? So now we're really getting into it, because I've told these people my thoughts on our current cornerback situation. So right now, if you don't know, we got Cheeto Awuzie, who you are familiar with. Yes, we have Trey Waynes. We also have Mike Hilton and some other guys. What are your thoughts on just the Bengals secondary, and should there be guys that they should look to in this draft?
I think cornerback is just like O-line. Right, just because you got one good of them don't mean you got other goods of them. There's this game that we do over on my show, you know, where I'm just breaking down film. It's called Find the Scrub. So if Cheeto is over there and he's cool, and, you know, you got your, you know, somebody else here, but then I see Eli Apple like, oh, hey, let's pick on this guy. You know what I mean? So right. if you're gonna play mostly nickel, then you need 3 good cornerbacks, right? Just like if you play mostly trips or mostly, you know what I'm saying, well, like whatever personnel you run on offense, like 11 personnel, you need 3 good receivers. So I mean, hell yeah, you should draft corner every single chance you get, especially just because, like we said earlier, man, like, you know, you can find corner. You know, it's weird because if you look at cornerback, the best ones in the league are guys that are kind of taken in day 2 and day 3. Some of those big stud guys, those Jeff Okudah type guys, I mean, they kind of have a hard time transitioning. You know, I'm not saying all first round corners are whack, but, you know, whatever. Cheeto, I actually like Cheeto a whole bunch. You know, former Cowboy Cheeto Awuzie. I find it interesting. You know, there's a faction of Cowboy fans that just think everybody is terrible, and they love their 4th string guys. They love, you know, the Rico Gathers of the world, the dudes that just want to be, but they hate their actual good players. So they, like, Cowboy fans, just for like context for all the Bengals people watching, like, they wanted Byron Jones to walk because he didn't get interceptions. Like, they wanted Cheeto to walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of people that we dealing with. I hate Cowboys fans. I am one. So what I got from Cheeto was Cheeto had an incredible first 2 years. His rookie campaign, his sophomore campaign, those were some pretty good years. Chris Richard came in and started doing goofy stuff and made people not look back to the football. Cheeto had a hard time. Mike Nolan, the worst defense coordinator I've ever seen. came in, changed things up a little bit. Cheeto had a hard time. But when Cheeto was just forced to just kind of be an athlete and run around with people, Cheeto was fine. So if you just keep things simple for him, then I can see Cheeto being a solid option for you. Now, if the Bengals want to throw a whole ass curveball and go draft Pat Surtain and pair him up with Cheeto, then fine. You just got two pretty good corners in your in your cornerback room or whatever. But Cheeto's cool. The rest of them can be replaced.
So about Trey Henderson. So a lot of people, I know you study film. What are your thoughts on just Trey Henderson? Because I hear a lot of people say it's a lot of empty calorie sacks that he's been having. I personally feel like, the number of sacks is the number of sacks. But what are your thoughts on just Trey Henderson in terms of what he can bring to the Bengals?
I think you do have to separate those though. Like you have to separate the I was in the right place at the right time sacks. This was drawn up for me sacks, the sacks that I got just because I was being super effort guy, and I technically won this sack. Because, okay, first of all, I was just hating on the Russo kid, right? Let's bring Russo back, right? Let's just bring Russo back to hate on him a little bit. So he got 15 sacks, right? And 15 sacks looks good on paper. So if we're going by what you were saying, 15 sacks is 15 sacks. But 3 of those sacks was against the worst Pittsburgh kids I've ever seen in my life. 4 of them was against the worst Florida State kids I've ever seen in my life. Like some more of them was I just stumbled into sacks. The rest of them were there was some gap exchange. I got a stunt and I got a free run. That's 15 sacks. But we just can't say a sack is a sack is a sack. So yeah, Trey, I probably wouldn't spend no money on Trey Henderson or whatever. But whatever, he on your team now. You got him. Right. He's gonna give you the effort sacks, man. He's gonna do those kind of things. But does he stop me from drafting edge early? Nah. What's his contract like? I mean, you know more than me. What's his contract?
We gave him a pretty sizable contract. It was 4 years, but I think it's equivalent. Yeah, we stuck with him at least. I think for like 1 to 2 years at least, like just to see. But we did only have 17 total sacks in the whole season last year.
Okay, so y'all still got Sam Hubbard over there too? Like, is he
still got Sam Hubbard? Yep. We got Khalid Kareem as well. Good friend of the show, Khalid Kareem as well. But a lot of people are thinking that we still got to get another edge rusher to add to that group.
If I had an opportunity to draft Peyton Barber in the second round, Peyton Turner in the second round, and it was like, but Voch, what about Sam Hubbard? Then I'll push Sam Hubbard off a bridge to get Peyton Turner up in here. But that's just my thought. But honestly, though, if you want my personal opinion on like what y'all should do with this whole like draft thing, like take offensive line in the first pick, in the second pick, and the third pick. Like if I can get Penei Sewell, like Landon Dickerson and like Wyatt Davis, then do it, because I think Joe Burrow can be incredible. I mean, if you watch like Joe Burrow was throwing the ball like 50 times a game. Joe Burrow don't need to throw the ball 50 times a game. Protect that dude. Run the football. Let him throw 25 to 30 and move on with your life, man.
Nah, facts. Well, Voch, we truly appreciate you spending your time here with us, bro. Appreciate you. Like I said, make sure that you follow this guy's stuff. Was there anything that you wanted to leave Bengals Nation with?
Trust your own eyes. Don't listen to people just because they're on TV wearing a suit. Do your own research. Watch your own film. Love your neighbor. Don't be an asshole. And hey man, live life. Salute. Voch Lombardi. Peace. Thanks for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. And as usual, I'm going to leave you guys with a who day, all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.
Here comes Moses. Here comes the quarterback, Burrow. Looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown!
Fakes, throwing to the end zone, wide open is Higgins for the Cincinnati touchdown.
There's the sneak. Burrow gets low, driving towards the goal line. He's inside.